Well, someone who has waited for so long for this piece to appear, and it's only about an hour late. So, Christine, I think I can afford to be a little candid here and take this on a lighter note because this woman is phenomenal. I mean, honestly, I've even lost the formality of introducing her. Allow me to introduce her. She's Kristen Haskell. She's a seasoned expert with over 25 years of experience in data management and operations, spanning the entire data lifecycle. She's a collaborative advisor, educator, and author. She brings unique multidisciplinary perspective that bridges learning, experience, and culture to drive meaningful change. On a very personal note, I can have a light conversation anytime that I want with Kristen, and I know she will take it lightly. Kristen, am I right?
Yes.
Allow me to bring in Kristen to hear the hidden story in the classroom. And Kristen, first of all, honestly, thank you so much for your patience. You have
You're
been
welcome.
phenomenally patient, stayed awake the whole night. She's sitting out of Washington, just imagine, and she stayed up all night for this. So thank you.
Anything for you.
I love hearing.
I'm trying to share my screen, and
Sure, here you go.
not having luck here. Hold on one second.
Done, sir. Done that.
1 second. I'm trying. Let's see here. Can you see?
Yes.
Okay. I need to share this window here because I have to jump around a little bit.
Sure.
Okay. All right. All right. So I want to start by sharing a story, a short story about a student who taught me that every piece of data in the classroom is fodder for a story. I noticed a pattern break of a strong performer that was starting to miss some deadlines, and I'm sure the folks in the room our teachers that our teachers have seen this. A cross-course grade comparison revealed a stark contrast, and their responses to course communications were delayed. And to address this, I reviewed historical performance and sent a personalized check-in mail and offered flexible scheduling options. And as a result, the student opened up about some personal challenges they were dealing with, and we created a manageable completion plan, and they successfully completed the course while meeting original learning outcomes. And more importantly, this experience strengthened our student-faculty dynamic and reinforced the power of proactive support. So I'm going to probably, in the essence of time, Manashki, just probably skip this, but since there's so few people on the call right now, but the lesson here is that you can start with what you already have, and that the bridge to broader implications that in the graduate courses that I teach, we don't really have sophisticated tracking systems, but what we do have, we have assignment submissions, we have grading patterns, we have participation trends. Like I heard Vinny kicked off the conversation with what was essentially unstructured data, Excel files and paper references to paper, and there's all kinds of data lying around. So there are, gradebook patterns and assignment submission timing and cross-course performance comparisons and participation trends. And so there are systems already in place, and data is all around you in various forms, analog and digital. And so let's explore how data naturally flows through your teaching day. So think about your last teaching day, and I can't see the chat, but if you want to use chat, or think about the first piece of information that you noticed about your students. Maybe it was who logged in early or who seemed prepared for discussion. And now imagine your teaching day as a story, and each interaction creates a data point. And when your student asks a question or submits work or engages in a discussion, they're giving you information. And these aren't just moments, they're measurable touch points that tell you something important. So we want to try something like share, when you think about a piece of information that you naturally collect at the start of each class, like You know, think about the natural rhythm, the natural touch point, weekly patterns, monthly trends that are already a part of your practice, and like eye contact or logins or energy levels during the day. You know, morning readiness metrics and transition time effectiveness and student engagement patterns by the time of day, behavioral incident frequency distribution, things like that. So this may be, so yeah, this is sort of like a field guide, pattern recognition field guide. There's some natural collection points, places where data is already present, and there's no need to go out and seek it. It's just getting better at recognizing what's already there. And these lists are not exhaustive by any means, but you just want simple tally marks for participation or quick end of period student self-assessments or transition time stopwatch sampling. So this one here is just looking at, you know, again, natural collection points, places where it's already present. It's not about creating new work. It's about getting better at recognizing patterns that show us how learning translates into impact. And when a student shares a workplace application or demonstrates a concept integration, that's valuable data that's naturally emerging. And so these are different places that this occurs and different ways that it can be harvested. Let's see. And then this is just an example of something that I do for myself, and not so much in a 10-minute presentation, but in longer presentations where I'll have a longer period of time and I'll keep track of like what slides generate interest and where I'm getting a lot of chat participation, or where I'm getting a lot of questions or activity or things like that, and where I need to follow up. This I'm going to shift to doing a prompt that will give you an example. This is a little bit different from what Mark was it Mark Maneshki that
yeah, that was Mark Sparwell, yes.
Mark Sparwell, yeah. The co-pilot ones are very tidy, but this one's a little bit different. So this one is, so it's gonna show you what Copilot does and what ChatGPT does, and then I'm gonna run one in Claude. And this is an example of kind of playing with chat. It's chewing on it, so give it some time. Doesn't usually take this long. Okay, here's one. So Claude is gives a little bit more detail. I like how it formats the answers. Claude is my favorite. I think I would marry it if it had a face. It tends to give a bit more detail and context. The thing that I don't like when people give AI demos is that they do it once and they walk away. The thing that you need to realize that it's not Google, and your prompt that you start off with is not the prompt that you end with. The thing that you want to do is interact with this and reason with it, and that's the skill that you're developing. So this one is very different in ChatGPT. So this one says, I've created a personal development tracker. So what I've done here is I've taken what we've done in the slides is I said, I want a personal development tool. So this is about context switching. So you've done something, you've been teaching all day, you've been handling, 30 students, you've been dealing with kind of an abstract space and kind of dealing with one set of skills over here, and then you've got to switch gears and sell yourself up the administration chain and answer questions about how you've what kind of impact are you having in the classroom beyond teaching to test. And that's a whole different language, and it requires a lot of cognitive load to kind of switch from dealing with each individual student and thinking about that that kind of context, and then switching about how do I summarize that and speak that language of administration. And to organize your thoughts and organize all of that information takes a significant amount of time. And when you saw that pie chart of Mark's tools, and I forget who else was, there were so many people talking about, you know, look at the array of tools and just choose and be judicious about your time. And like that takes a lot of effort. And which tools and which, you know, how do you be judicious? I mean, when you it's like having a hungry nest of birds, you know, when you've got a classroom. It doesn't matter what age they are. I teach grad school students. I mean, you've got a hungry nest of birds over here, and then you've got your administrator over here asking you to be succinct and be brief and be impactful. And then you've got to go home and feed your family, and then you've got to go run errands, and then you've got to choose from a pie chart of like 100 tools and you learn all those different skills. That's a lot. And then you've got to sit and organize your thoughts and summarize, and that's a lot. And so if you pick a few of them and get good at them and learn to reason with them, so I'm just teaching you the difference. This is I just wanted you to see the difference of the output that they do, and then what a follow-up prompt could potentially look like. So this is what saying, without changing any of this information, fill in an example of a morning reflection from a K through 12, specifically grades 8 through 12, and you know, from a tenured business school professor or something, and then it'll fill in some information, and then it will give you some content, and this is what the back and forth begins to look like, and then you choose which one you like best, and you kind of go back and forth with it. So I just wanted to drive home the point that you do not use this like a search engine. You use this like an intern. It's a conversation that you're having. You use this truly like an assistant. And so I just want to pause there for a second and just see if that resonated, and because I can't see the chat, but
yeah. So yeah, I think we have many audience here, but they've been very quiet, like you and I were discussing. I think they're absorbing a lot, they're hearing a lot, and I love the way you compared, you know, two different generative engines and how you must deep dive into those, you know, to actually introspect or to find what you're looking for, or to even question what's coming in there. So thank you. That is absolutely amazing. You know, what is also interesting is how we normally take the first response as the wow response and walk with it. Yeah. But you actually showed us that don't do that, move onwards. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just talking with a colleague today about, she's like, how would I know it's wrong? And she's like, I might do a search in biology, and how would I know that that's wrong? How would the student know that it's wrong? And I'm like, you might not. And that's the, you know, and you gave me a question of sort of unexpected use cases, and we can talk about that at the end. And and that's, you know, we get told like to be reminded that we're human. I don't think we need to be reminded that we're human at all. We need to be reminded that we bring value, and that value add, that's the reasoning that I'm talking about. That if you're searching for biology and you know nothing about biology, you're actually adding no value to the reasoning because you don't know what you're getting is wrong. But if you're an expert in data, like I'm an expert in data, and I needed a slide for my business class, and I went and said I need I need a slide on data as an asset, and it gave me a slide on data and as asset, and it was quoting someone that I knew was a consultant and not an academic person. And I said, no, that person's a consultant and has said the same thing for the last 20 years. Please give me 3 citations from MIT, Harvard, and something else. And I knew that because I know this person and I know their material, and it was not what I wanted. Now, I know that because I've been in this racket for 30 years, but the students don't know that, and they don't know what they don't know. And other people in the business may not know that. But that's the value of expertise, right? And when we talk about augmentation versus replacement, that's what we're talking about. And when we're talking about, when we're talking about a teacher being replaced, or when we're talking about the fear of, or whatever, I'm like, there should be no fear when someone is bringing their skills to the table, right? There should be absolute confidence of being augmented, and that I have reasoning to bring to this tool. I can argue with it, of saying, no, actually, this is wrong. I have certain pedagogy that I want to bring to this, or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, right.
Yeah,
and,
you just said that, that's not something that's an end all. Here's your starting point, and we can always start your conversation from there. Now, that's a
yeah.
skill which needs to be taken to students as well, but maybe not now. Maybe when teachers are more confident, when we are more, with the guardrails, and when we know how to take it to students, I think we will be. They're already using it, but there has to be a pragmatic approach towards it. I think from the beginning of the session, I've been emphasizing on it, right?
Yeah. Okay, so and then we go into sort of the low the low effort documentation, sort of voice notes or photo documentation of work, or quick email follow-ups, calendar notes, that kind of thing. This is an example of the show don't tell portfolios of the low documentation examples, like sort of the short-term impact multimedia portfolios and data dashboards and interactive growth charts that that teachers can maintain, and trying to go fast for time, but like homework completion trends and daily participation patterns and things like that. I'm thinking about, like, when you want to think about where in your current data collection this fits, right? Like, and then for, typically around this time, there are concerns about like how to handle privacy concerns, and how, what about students who don't want interventions, or how to scale for larger classes. I'll just offer, I don't even know how to get the chat window to show up right now, but I have a resource to share. I'll just do that when I'm done sharing the slides. And then we can move on. So think about this. Someone earlier said to start small. I wholeheartedly agree with that. 15 minutes a day starts a habit. So just start to play with it. The resource that I have has a bank of prompts to begin with. One of the ones was the one that I just practiced with, where you can kind of come up with your own development plan. But there's other ones that you can play with, and obviously Copilot's got a library of them as well. The libraries are just a starting point. It really is what you bring to it, and developing your own prompt library. So the prompt that you start with is actually not the nugget. It's the prompt that you end with, and when you get the answer that you want, you ask it, what was the prompt that would have gotten me this answer? And that's the prompt that you save in your own bank, and that's the one that you want to save. So so this is just an action plan to get you started, and then I don't know that we have a group that's big enough for this, but I'll just kind of leave it there with some things about some takeaways. And I always try to have people remember to leave baggage behind of, like, old ideals and kind of old beliefs, limiting beliefs, and thinking that you're not a technology person, or you're not capable of these kinds of things. But think about pattern recognition, think about the data that's lying around in your area, and how to string it together. So I will hand it over to you, and I'm happy to do Q&A. And I have a whole bunch of examples of kind of unexpected uses and things like that.
I have two special comments. Okay, you go ahead and finish this, and I'm going to go ahead.
Oh, no, that's it.
Okay, this one is like really important. You have to buy this. I promise, Kristen, this is something that we're going to go for. She is absolutely amazing. And I know you do agree with me that she is super amazing. Now, while you do believe in that alongside me, you do have to promise me you are going to go ahead and, look at these books that she's written. She's an amazing author, amazing friend. Kristen, I have two comments for you. Number one, your session is something that is so immersive that this platform is not enough. So people are requesting you to come back another day and please have a deep dive with them if possible. Where is the space? I'm going to create that space if you, and I know Kristen is always happy to come back, but yes, a dedicated space for Kristen to come back. Kristen, that's what I had to share with you, and also that this was the interactive piece of the conversation that we were looking for. So thank you for sharing that with us.
I'm happy to. I think that the thing that you had mentioned about the unexpected use cases, I think what stuck with me about that question when we were talking about it before was, and I thought about it, I was thinking about, I just wanted to share this one link with you. China has facial recognition on children. And I thought that was one of the most innovative and unexpected uses of AI that I'd seen. And it's called Smart Eye. And it's got privacy issues, I'm sure, but that pushes the boundary on AI ethics in classrooms and raises privacy concerns. But the concept of AI monitoring in real-time learning is really cutting edge. And when you think about it, forces adaptive skills, and anything that forces adaptive skills is gonna move things forward, And
you're absolutely right. No. I'm with you on this. And yeah, amazing, comments for you in the chat window to catch them, and then if you're still around, you get to meet another one of our very special child. And thank you, Kristen. Honestly, this was totally amazing. You've always been very warm, very charming, and very insightful. So thank you so very much. I'm very grateful.